In this video, I'm gonna show you how to make a simple clicker game, and on this channel I want to make a lot of other tutorials. I usually don't use templates, and like to make a click game you don't need a template, it's pretty easy. I'll go over a simple method, advanced method, and then others. So let's start with the simple method. So for a clicker game, I always make a circle. You can make it whatever you want. This is just the design of your clicker thing. So you got the button now. It's just empty blueprint by pressing the plus. So basically every single time we click this button, we want the amount of clicks or like the counters to go up. So to do that, first we're gonna go up here, press that settings button, and then press on variables. Variables, you can name this whatever you want, bound and name it clicks. And here's two different things in lifetime. You can choose deck play or persistent per player. The persistent per player just saves their data to the specific user and resets every single deck play. Means every single time they go off the actual game, it'll reset, and when they come back it'll be a 0 again, or the initial value. So usually you always want persistent. That's what I'm just gonna press there. So now on the button, I'm gonna go into logic here, and then just press when it's tapped as the first one. You're gonna say modify value of variable, and then on this you can press none, you can press 0, it'll all change it. So we press deck because we want a deck variable, not act as a specific variable for that specific object, and we don't want that. We want that for the whole deck. So now we press on the variable name, what is clicks, that's what we just added, and we press 1, and then press the tick value, because the tick value means it says relative to current value, means it'll add 1 every single time we tap this now, and not just make it 1 and nothing else. So before we test it, we want to get a text in, and then we just want to change this to show our counter or our actual clicks. So you want to go with the $, and then you say your variable name. The $, just shows the variable as a text and will update as the variable changes. So we can just make this bigger and put it here, and you see it's 0. So let's say the variable is like 7, you see it changes to be 7. So you usually want a 0, and now we can play test this, and every single time we tap, it's going to increase the variable number. So there's a lot of other things you can do. That's like the most simplest clicker game. But another thing people usually want in a click game is like a goal. So the goal for this, I would say, like, if you want a simple goal, just make it leaderboard based. So let's quickly make a leaderboard now. So I'm just going to quickly draw up a little trophy cup. Okay, so I have this. So this will work. So this is once again a design. I'll make this though just the size of 2 and put it in the corner. So basically what happens is we're gonna say when this is tapped, it's gonna show a leaderboard for a specific value or the variable. And the variable that's gonna be shown is gonna be the clicks. So we press show leaderboard for clicks, and let me just redo this. You can just type in on the search bar as well. That's what I usually do. Show leaderboard. And then we're going to say for clicks, it's the high. You can change it to low for other things. I'm not so sure what you would use that for. And then you can leave it at score, but I would usually change it to clicks to show like what it is. And you can't just stop here. One thing a lot of people don't do is actually saving the variable to the leaderboard, because you have to do that. So to do this, you say when created, save variable to leaderboard, and it's clicks. And you can't just say once, you have to repeat this all the time, because if you just say it once, it'll save once the trophy is created, what is when the card starts, and it won't save any further from that, so the value will always be 0. So to counteract this, you make repeat, and you can do it every 1 second. It depends on you. I like just pressing that minus button now, and then it makes the lowest possible value, so it'll save the variable to the leaderboard whenever it can, like just constantly. So now that's a fully working leaderboard, and the clicker game is looking pretty good. Of course, it's not going to show now because I didn't publish a game, but that will work. And now let's get to a little bit more advanced version. So the advanced version that I'll be showing now is to add animations to the button first. So okay, so I'm just gonna move this shape up and then create another shape at the bottom, which is going to be a darker color to kind of showcase the 3D effect I'm doing. and you just make it a little bit down from the actual button, so it looks like a button. And then to sell the effect of it being pressed, I put down I just copy and paste the circle over, then I move it down with the move tool in the top right corner. So you just move it down to where it is now, and then basically what happens now, if I press play, it just looks like you're pressing the button, and then that's the animation. Very simple. You can make it change color and stuff, but I'm not gonna do that now. So now to actually make it do the animation when you tap, you go when tapped. There's many ways you can do this, but the most simplest way I find is just saying modify the play mode to make it play once, and then once the animation has ended, make it to the first frame again, and then it'll be able to replay the animation. So to do this, you say play once, and then I make another trigger that says when animation ends, modify the property of the button current frame to make it 1. This just takes it back to the first frame when the animation ends. And to make this a little bit faster, I would say to make the frames per second like 15 or something, just for a little brief click. You don't want anything too long. So now when I click it, it will go up and down. And if I make the frames per second more, it'll just be way faster. So I guess I'll just use this. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm gonna make a quick shop. So we're gonna make another kind of image or picture. So I got a little shop icon. Could make better, but this will do for now. You just make my icons like the size of 2. So now I'll put it, you can put it anywhere, but I'll just put it in the bottom right because you do have a lot of open space. And there's 2 ways I usually do this. The simplest way to do this is to make a different card, so I'm going to do that. So before we actually put in the script for it, we're going to add a card and just make a little shop interface. And now that we have just shop, we also need a way to send the player back. So before I start with the actual shop, I'll make a back arrow so the players can actually go back to the actual clicker game. So I'll just put it back here, and I've noticed we didn't use too much sounds. So making sounds and music also enhances the game a lot, so I can actually hear and confirm that buttons are being pressed. So for this, I'll use sounds and put sounds in the rest of the cards. So we send it back to the clicker game and then press play sound. These sounds, you can use other sounds from other games and stuff. I usually just use the sounds in the game, like this generated effects, tone, microphone, so you can speak to it and all that. So I'm just gonna use this sound now. So when they tap it, it sends them back with that sound, and it works. So let me just add a few things that you would expect in a shop. So I guess I'm gonna add a +5. So every single time you tap, you +5 instead of just one single click. So every single time, I guess you would get 5, 10, 15. So, to do this is actually not too complicated. You just have to use some variables. So once again, making the design. So I just made this little interface here. So it'll tell you what the price is and what the thing actually does. So to do this now, you want to say when tapped. So first we have to make a value, a variable. And this variable, we can name it anything as well. I'll just press add taps and then make it persistent per player. It'll start at 0. So what I'll do basically is I'll add to that variable and I'll go back to the original card, and every single time you tap, it'll plus by that extra variable on top of the clicks. So if the variable is 0, it'll just do 1 click. If the variable is 5, then it'll do 6 clicks. So to do this, we added that variable, so we'll do modify valuable variable, and we're gonna say add taps. We said 5, so +5, and remember, relative to current value. So now we're not just gonna make it add taps, we're gonna do a lot of other things. So first, we're gonna make a condition. A condition is basically to tell you if the person meets a certain condition to buy it. So in this case, it's gonna be making sure they have actually 100 clicks to actually purchase this. So we're gonna say if the variable meets a condition, what's gonna be clicks equal or greater than. So if it's equal to 100 or more than 100, it'll accept it. We'll modify the variables add taps, and we're also gonna modify another variable what it's gonna be clicks, and then we're gonna take away 100 clicks because they bought it. You can also not add this and then it won't take away any clicks or whatever your variable is. So now this whole thing works. I'm just going to add a sound effect for when you purchase it. And then at the bottom here, add else. I'm just going to make it play like a fail sound effect. This means if the person doesn't have 100, it's going to do this else thing. And the else thing is just like this sound effect. And also a nice little just confirmation is to add the clicks variable over here in the shop so you can see that your money has gone down when you're buying stuff. So I'll add that as well. And the thing you can do is just say clicks right before you put the $sign, and then you don't have to do a space or anything because this whole thing here with the $sign clicks, it will show the value here. So now if I go out, it will actually show clicks colon and then the actual amount of clicks there. So that's a pretty cool trick. So now to check if it works, I'm going to quickly give myself 200 clicks. And also to make the whole thing show the clicks, I usually just drag out this whole box here. So when it gets like a lot, it'll expand rather on the x-axis instead of going down out of the card or whatever. So now I have 200 clicks. I press it once. It buys it. I have 100 less clicks, but again, same thing happens. And now it plays a sound and doesn't make my clicks go down to negative value. So you can't get in depth in this. So that feature works now. So now we just have to implement all the things in the main card. So now let's go back to the shop and we just do a simple one where it just sends it to the shop actual card and then plays a sound. And now to make it actually add that amount you put in the shop, you can tap on the button and then you see here where you said modify variable to +1 clicks. You can actually tap on this and you see that one, there's a little potion icon on the left. Don't be too alarmed. This is kind of confusing for a lot of new game developers and stuff. But all you're going to do is just press here and then where it says set to, you're going to press on the says a constant number. You're going to scroll down until you see add. So basically what we're doing, we're just going to add 1 and then whatever the multiplier is or the addition clicks you bought from the shop. So we can just say 1 over here and then on the right or left, doesn't matter where you put it, you press the potion again to change this not to a constant number, just a normal number, but actually change it a value of a variable and then change this to add taps. So basically, let's say I bought from the shop once, it'll make it 5 for this bottom value. So then it'll be 5 plus 6, 5 plus 1, what is 6? And then every single time you tap, you'll have 6 per tap. So let's just quickly test if this works. So if I tap now, it just gives me 1. Now if I go to the shop, I buy this 2 times. So now in theory, it should give me 11 per tap. Yeah, and there we go. Just also one thing, if one time it doesn't work, because playing with different cards is kind of weird, you have to sometimes go out of the card you're working on. Then it'll save what happened in this card, and then you go back. So now it fully works for me. Press 2 times, now get a lot. I can do this again and it'll keep on adding up, no cap. And then here's like a nice simple game, nice clicker game. You can get to whatever value you want and you can add more like this. And the last thing I'll show you is just gonna be how to make an auto clicker for the shop. So usually with things like this, to just keep the same shape and size, I press this kind of icon with 2 circles or 3 circles and a line, whatever. It just duplicates the card but makes it as a new actor or as a new object. So now we're just going to change this design to an auto clicker design. Okay, so now we have an auto clicker. I will just change the color. So now all I'm going to do is go back. This is basically, it just takes the same script again, just doing this to save time. You say when tapped. So firstly, I'm gonna make the price of this. Maybe like, let's say 1,000, because it's quite a good thing. So we just take the same text, but remember I press the button with 3 circles and a line. I have the same font, I have the same size. All I have to change is the content. So I'll just say +1 auto clicker, and then I'll say cost equals 1000 taps or clicks, and I'll just resize it to the size of everything else. So now we're gonna make a very simple thing. So when the user has more than 1000 clicks or equal to that, we're gonna actually change this now, not modify that. We're gonna modify the clicks, of course, to -1000, take away 1000, and we're also going to do something here. We're gonna modify property, modify value of a variable, clicks to 1 every single second. So every single time someone buys this, it's just gonna increase the clicks to 1 all the time. So let's just increase the money and test this now. Okay, I did do one thing. So actually I'm gonna do this a little bit different. So we're just gonna remove clicks to -1000. Then I'm gonna add a new variable. What's gonna be auto clicker and persistent per player. So all it's gonna do is modify auto clicker to 1, and basically on the button itself, and I'll make it on something in the shop icon on the button, it's gonna modify the clicks to +1 every second. So just modify the variable auto clicker to 1. This is usually better when you do it all on one card, but I'm doing it on different cards. So auto clicker to 1, and now we can choose anything here. I think to make it easier, I'll just go make a little yellow circle. This will be our object. That's basically just gonna be form. Like when it's created, it's just gonna modify the active variable clicks to plus like the variable of how much your auto clicker is, and we're gonna make this every single second +1. So basically, if you buy this multiple times, you're gonna get a bigger value every 1 second from the auto clicker. When this thing is created, you can put this thing anywhere. I would like to put it out of sight, so I'll just put it outside here, and we can just plop this down as well into our main card, and everything should be working. And to move in the new card, you just press this clipboard button. It'll just save to your clipboard. So now once I go back to this card, I can go paste from clipboard. Here's the little circle, has the same scripts, same everything, and now we can just do a quick playthrough for the game. So in a realistic scenario, we'd make the number to 0, not 2000, but the leaderboards will work. We can go to the shop, see our clicks, we can plus it by a lot, and we can put an auto clicker. So now as you can see, okay, so a better way I can do this is just removing it from here. So the clicker doesn't work now. And we can just put the same script, so we just copy it and then we paste it onto the button. The user won't see this, but it'll just make sure the auto clicker doesn't only work in the shop. So now as you can see, the auto clicker is going. Okay, I know it's working now. So if you tap, sometimes you just save like from both cards, you just go out, it'll remember both these. Okay, and to publish a deck or whatever, you can just say clicker game, name it whatever you want, doesn't really matter. And in Castle, hashtags do mean a little bit. So usually just like to say hashtag clicker button, hashtag clicker game, doesn't really matter. And once you're done, you can make it public, and now this will be on your Castle profile as a game. Make sure it's not sensitive or blood or whatever, unless you have, then you're gonna have to put the sensitivity on. So also one thing you want to make sure that this is your top card and not the shop, otherwise it'll be a little bit confusing. So now if I go to my profile here, I can go on the clicker game, and now I can just like press a few times. Forgot to change the initial value. So now you can go on the thing. So now I'm in the game. I can tap for as long as I need to and get the upgrades. Go here and buy all the shops things, and then the leaderboard here is my clicks. So that's how you make a simple and then advanced clicker game. More advanced tutorials and more tutorials in general will be coming out. Please tell me what tutorial you'd like to showcase about. I'll cover that. I've not seen a lot of tutorials on Castle at all, really. Like, a lot of them are quite informal and there's not a lot, so I'm sure to make as much as I can because I am quite experienced. I've been on it for a little bit of time, and like a game that I'm quite proud of is Gamble Clickers. It's like, I don't know, with all the CUI and stuff, you can check that out. But see you guys next time, and bye bye.